is embarrassing, isn't it? As Matt Lawton has just said, really. So, England get a man sent off. Is the king going to ring up FIFA or whoever and ask them if they can rescind the decision? To have the President of the United States, he admits he doesn't even know what a red card is, and what an offence is really that he got sent off for. It's just using power, and unfortunately, we know that is how things are in the world.
Now, football's not a matter of life and death. It's much more important than that. And that quote famously belongs to Liverpool's immortal late manager Bill Shankly. And Shanks was right, at least on a match day, at least for those unburdened at that moment by questions of life or death, or any of the trials and tests that define our lives and from which football and the fortunes of our team offer a chance to escape and dream and share that dream with others of our own football tribe. It does feel good to share hopes and dreams sometimes, doesn't it? And to belong to a football tribe. Now, in the early hours then, it felt very good to the maybe 16 million people watching and listening to the game in the early hours, with due respect to Mexico and Mexicans, not to mention the countless millions around the world who rooted for the home side, or maybe just love underdogs. And since I do hate a gloater, I will say I wish Scotland was still in it. Honestly, I do. There's not enough joy in our lives, and for millions of us, that World Cup result, England 3, and then the result and the celebrations afterwards, after, of course, the win, was not expected. It was pure innocent joy, a moment of hope before anxiety inevitably returned. So yes, football's a game. It's just a game. That doesn't alter the fact that the day my local team, Crystal Palace, won the FA Cup, it was one of the happiest of my life. And in Mexico, England have already created memories that will last more than a lifetime. So let's just live the moment while we can. A bit later on, we're also looking at the developing story of Nigel Farage's undeclared wealth and the emerging generosity of his rich friends and supporters. Is the Reform leader in trouble? And if he is, could this hit his high-riding party below the waterline? Wonder what you're thinking. Send me a text. Send me a tweet. Now, let's talk about football, because we just got this in from the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino. He says, I've seen the public comments regarding the decision of the independent FIFA disciplinary committee related to the suspension of Folarin Balogun. I'd like to reiterate a fundamental principle of FIFA's governance. It says, quoting, FIFA's judicial bodies are independent. They operate autonomously. They apply the FIFA disciplinary code and decide cases based on the applicable regulations and the specific facts before them. Their independence is essential to the credibility and integrity of football, and this must always be respected. Yes, says Infantino, I regularly discuss matters related to the FIFA World Cup with the President of the United States, and on this matter, I did receive a call from President Trump, just as I received calls from heads of state, government officials, football stakeholders and business executives from around the world on many different issues. During our conversation, says Infantino, I explained there was an ongoing legal process involving FIFA's independent judicial bodies, and the case will be decided in due course by the competent bodies. That is how FIFA's system works, and it is a principle I will always uphold. I read the decisions of the FIFA Disciplinary Committee when they're issued. Sometimes I'm surprised by them. Sometimes I agree with them. Sometimes I disagree. What I always do, however, is respect those decisions and the autonomy of the bodies that make them. Whether we personally like a decision or not is irrelevant. Respect for independent institutions and the rule of law is what protects the integrity of our competitions and the credibility of FIFA at all times. That then is the statement there from Gianni Infantino of FIFA. Matt Lawton is with us now from the Times team, covering and writing on this subject. Hello to you, Matt.
Hi, John.
Well, you heard there from Gianni Infantino. Are you impressed?
Well, he's used words like integrity and credibility there, and I'm afraid he's struggling to cling on to either, in my opinion. The fact of the matter is, I've woken up here in Mexico City to the latest coverage on this, and Trump talking about it, and the sort of other senior American politicians talking about it, and actually congratulating Trump on essentially getting the suspension lifted, making jokes about, that's why the World Cup was on the desk in the Oval Office, this kind of nonsense. I think it's incredibly embarrassing for Infantino. The fact of the matter is, UEFA have torn into FIFA this morning, basically making the point that they've not really followed the rules here. VAR is there for a reason. If the red card is given, it stands. It is an absolutely extraordinary development in having this player's suspension lifted. And the optics of it, given that the White House, even the White House press office were confirming it, albeit from a source yesterday, it's just extraordinarily embarrassing for FIFA, and it does compromise the integrity of this World Cup. And I think the best thing that can happen, as much as you always like to see host countries have a good run in this tournament, because it kind of keeps it alive. It keeps the locals engaged. But I almost think the best thing that could happen is the Americans go out.
Well, I'm guessing a lot of football fans around the world, the previously neutrals, will be rooting against America largely for this reason, which is pretty sad for Team USA.
Yeah. It is sad, John, because you know what? Like, we've been based for a lot of this World Cup in Kansas City because we've been with England, and Kansas City is recognised as a bit of a football capital for the US. But I was on a flight back from Atlanta to Kansas the other day, and the American game was on. And on the Delta flights, you can actually watch the games live. And the cheering that was going on the flight when the American goals were going in, as a country, I wasn't in America in '94. It was just before my time. My first tournament was '96. But I think the way that the popularity of soccer, as they call it, has grown. This is really unfortunate. This is something that I think is embarrassing for the fans, for the US fans as well, and it's entirely of their creation. I just think between Trump and Infantino, to even confirm that you've had this conversation, I don't know what Trump is thinking. I don't think he appreciates just how damaging what he's doing is.
Yeah, and that is a question we apply not infrequently, as you know, Matt. Let's talk about England. Matt, if you love football, if you love England, and if you don't love football or love England, that was last night. It was such a near superhuman display of athletic and mental strength under unimaginable pressure, wasn't it?
It was incredible, John, because I'm not taking any credit for this, but I think the Times almost started the conversation around altitude at this tournament and really drew attention to the challenges that the players faced last night. And you've only got to look at the statistics that have emerged this morning since the game, just how on every level England's performances compared to all the other games they've played were down. It was impossible to cover the same amount of same number of kilometres on the pitch and so on. But there was even so, it was an incredible athletic display and an incredible night. As I said earlier, I've been covering football for 30 odd years. I've been very fortunate to do it. I've never seen anything like what I saw last night. The noise when Mexico scored. It was deafening. And I said on our live blog, that the best atmosphere I've ever been in was actually that Liverpool-Chelsea Champions League semi-final in 2005 at Anfield, because I remember I couldn't speak to the office that night. It was so loud. But this was on a different level. I don't know. It was almost like for the second goal, because when Mexico scored, everything that every Mexican had in their hands went into the air, whether it was beer, popcorn, or whatever. And it was almost like they went and sort of recharged and bought more beer and more popcorn, so that when they scored the second goal, it all went again, because it was just raining popcorn and beer. It was just extraordinary. I was so glad Mexico scored, just to be able to see that, just to be able to see like this enormous concrete structure that is the Azteca. The whole place shook. It was as I say, it was extraordinary. I was sat there with my colleagues, Martin Samuel, Johnny Norton. We're just looking at each other, just going, you know what? We've been around the block a few times in this job, but this is different. This is just a whole new level. It was amazing.
was just literally unforgettable at home. I can't even really, despite that brilliant description, I can't quite imagine what it would have been like to be there. It would have been so good. Matt Lawton, great to talk to you. Now, Harry Redknapp's on the line, the former Premier League manager who was a contender for the England job at a point. Hi to you, Harry. Welcome back.
John, good evening.
I do want to start with I don't know, should we call it the politics? What more is there to say about President Trump and Gianni Infantino and Balogun, the striker?
Well, it's embarrassing, isn't it, as Matt Lawton has just said, really. So, England get a man sent off, is the king going to ring up FIFA or whoever and ask them if they can rescind the decision? To have the President of the United States, he admits he doesn't even know what a red card is, and what an offence is, really, that he got sent off for. It's just using power, and, unfortunately, we know that is how things are in the world. It's not just in football. Powerful man, President of the United States. It's shocking that he can overturn a decision that has been made, and what is he doing interfering in that decision that has been made by the referee and by VAR? He shouldn't.
And you've got to feel sorry for Team USA and American fans too.
Listen, America have been excellent in the tournament. Pochettino's done a great job managing them. They play with so much enthusiasm. I'm not with Matt. I don't want to see them go out of the tournament. I'd like to see them stay in. I think it's great for football in America, soccer in America. I think that the public, it's a growing sport out there, and we need them involved as long as we can. They're not going to win it, but to keep them in the tournament, I think is fantastic. And it's not their fault at the end of the day that the president has decided to interfere. So, I should still be cheering America to get through the next round.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And now, Harry, as a veteran manager, a coach, an England watcher, at one time a potential England manager, what was going through your mind and through your heart watching the way England performed?
Yeah, it was great last night. It was a performance we've been waiting for apart from the second half against Croatia. We've been pretty average, to say the best. We haven't really played very well at all. But last night, in difficult circumstances, the altitude, everything, the crowd, as Matt said, incredible atmosphere, to come through that down to 10 men, it was a fantastic performance, and must really give everybody a real lift. It was great for the country. Today, we're all a bit tired this morning. I certainly felt, I was sort of got a couple of hours sleep, but it was worth it. It was a great night, and it's done to everybody in this country the world of good. The whole country today is buzzing, talking about the football, which is great, rather than talking about other things that keep depressing us. So, yeah, long may it continue. Norway next. We go into the rest of the tournament now on a high after last night, with a real chance of progressing and going all the way in this competition.
Everything crossed. And as a manager, what are your thoughts on Thomas Tuchel? Because he went into all of this with a great reputation as a tactician. If anything, Harry, that reputation has just gone up a few notches again.
Well, on the back of John, listen, I'm not one of them people that we go up and down and up and down. We play well against Croatia. He's great. The players are great. We play rubbish next game. He don't know what he's doing. We go play. That's how it goes. Listen, he's doing. If he wins the tournament, he's done a fantastic job, hasn't he? If he doesn't, then he's done as well as Gareth Southgate's done, which is nearly got us to winning a tournament. So he needs to win it. It's about time we won a tournament. We've got the players. We've got two of the best players in the world in Harry Kane and Bellingham. They're standout players, and there's no reason that we shouldn't go on and actually win this tournament. France are not unbeatable. Everybody says France can't. I watched them the other night. Defensively, I'm not sure they're so great. We've got a real chance here. It's important now we go on and actually win the tournament again. It's 1966 since we last won a tournament. It's too long with the players we've got.
Obviously, not too worried about Norway in the next round, despite Erling Haaland.
Well, Haaland, I'm a big fan of Odegaard. Plays at Arsenal, obviously. I think he's a fantastic footballer. So that'll be a difficult game. They're full of energy. They'll run. They'll work. They're well organised. It'll be a difficult game. We go into the game expecting to win now, but we'll beat Norway now. you know, we do tend to struggle when we're expected to beat somebody easily. It's when we normally have our biggest problems. And they've just beaten Brazil. Okay, it may be the worst Brazil team I've seen in many, many years, but they still had to beat them. And you say they got Erling Haaland up front, who's always a danger. So it'll be a very tight game, a very difficult game. But I think we can get past it, and we've got a great chance to go all the way.
Harry Redknapp, such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you. Now, coming up, the former Middle East peace negotiator Aaron David Miller. It is now 5:19. I'm John Pienaar on Times Radio Driver's Service. Now, learn how they put AI to work